Welcome to the Brett Davis Podcast.
Well, good evening, everybody. I see the screen and I don't see my face. So are we on, Sarah? Okay. So I am honored to finally get a chance to sit down and talk with Sharon Bruneau, somebody that I've admired and idolized in the magazines for many, many years. You were probably, in my mind, probably one of the greatest at what you did.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the kind words. I appreciate that. I do.
Well, I appreciate you stopping by because
Stopping by.
your busy schedule. I mean, you're all over the place.
It's like a 4-hour drive, dude.
Can I borrow some sugar? Can I borrow a protein shake? She comes by. It's like, but anyway, I do appreciate you coming by.
No, it's fun because we meant to do this a couple of years ago and I didn't make it out. So I had to be out this way anyway, and I was looking forward to it. So I'm glad we made this happen.
Well, you made it happen.
Well,
I appreciate
thank you
that.
for the invitation.
Well, you're always welcome. You're like family and you're somebody that's very positive and upbeat. And in this crazy world, I think in a way, we need more of Sharon Bruneau's in the world right now.
Well, I'm staying.
You had me at Sharon Bruneau. We need you to stay. But so what do you think? Here's how your career. So how did it start? And did you ever imagine that you were going to get into fitness modeling and fashion the way you did? Because I got to tell you, you weren't just a typical model. I mean, anybody that has seen, and we'll be putting some of that information up hopefully along the interview or maybe sometime later. It was like art. Some of the work that you did, I would just look at it and I've never seen anybody quite the way you showed your body, but yet it was classy and it was beautiful and unique.
Wow.
Even the thing with the duct tape that you did.
Yeah, that was mine. Yeah.
That was your idea?
Well, it wasn't duct tape. It was red body tape.
Body tape. It looked like duct tape.
I don't know, for those who follow fashion, but I think it was Terry Mugler, and one of the couture designers had his models walking down the runway a couple of years ago in tape swimsuits. And that was my idea 20 years ago, way ahead of my time. No, I appreciate that because that's what I aimed for when I was doing the photo shoots. It's like they were so it was an honor to be a part of the publication era, for one. All of us, I said, when I, not just myself, but the other athletes like Corey and Linda and Tamaya and Monica, all the top girls that were in the publications at the time, and gentlemen, the athletes. We didn't realize how lucky we were because we didn't foresee the demise of publications due to the internet, right? So I wanted to do something. That's what I thrive for, to be a little different. What can I do differently? We can all flex. We're all in shape. We all know how to pose well. So I would think of different concepts to bring to the set. And some were a little daring, like you said, with the tape and the saran wrap and different wigs. And it was a joy to work with Allison Reynolds, who mostly shot with myself and Robert Reef.
Another good photographer.
Robert, great guy. Love him. We did a lot of work together, and because she used to do the style and makeup and hair for Playboy. So I would always request Allison, and I would just let her play with my hair, makeup, whatever. It's anything that would help me stand out, right? So yeah, when I hear compliments like that, it makes me smile because that's what I always aimed for. But did I think that I was going to be involved with so much after winning my pro card? No. I didn't know what to expect. I'm from Canada, although we do have bodybuilding in Canada, even throughout the 80s and 90s, but nothing to the level that you had in the US. As far as guest posers, Robert Kennedy, who was part of the golden era, who's now joined the Weider brothers and we're all in heaven together. Another luxury to have worked with all of them. He is Toronto boy, so he had Muscle Mag International and Oxygen. And but even with that, everything was mostly shot in California. So I didn't know what to expect. I win my pro card and I thought, that's fantastic. I won a pro card and a trophy. So now I can say I did it. And now what am I going to do? What do I want to do with my life now? And then came the contracts and the travel. And I mean, like every month we were in front of the cameras, either still photography or doing film and TV and so forth. So thanks to bodybuilding, my life evolved to something I never foresaw ever when I first started training just to work out at my local gym in Canada, you know? So very fortunate, very blessed, and I'm glad I put the work in. You never know. You don't know where your passions are going to take you. You know, just got to go for it.
Were you involved with health and fitness before? I mean, when you were younger?
You know, I was always a jock. I am a girly girl,
you
but
have never looked like a jock.
well, that's what I mean. Because when I say that, people are like, "No, you're too much of a girly girl." Yeah, I like dresses and heels, and I like, doing my hair. Not a lot of makeup ever, but I was always conscious of my physique because I'm very tall and skinny. And as a kid, skinny mini, or tall crow, and all this, like kids tend to do. And I just didn't want to be skinny. So I was always in the track team, always on volleyball and tennis, and then later after school, that's why I joined a gym because I just wanted to tone my legs and my butt, and just to be fit, to be happy with my body. And it was a local gym owner that said, well, actually, my first husband at the time before we were married, he showed me a Flex magazine with Rachel McClish on the cover.
One of my favorites also.
Right.
I think you two were probably my favorite overall.
I'm honored to be in her company.
But I'll tell you, different. Completely different styles.
Yeah.
But both, both beautiful, both did a lot for bodybuilding.
Thank you.
You both opened the doors in so many ways.
She was the catalyst. Because I just fell in love with the shape of her legs and her glutes. And it's like, that's what I've been trying to aim for. So I started training a little harder, didn't want to do upper body. I didn't want biceps and that, still at that stage, until the local gym owner had suggested I enter a competition. What? What do you mean bodybuilding?
You never thought about it?
Never thought about it. Never thought about it. And she took me to one of the amateur shows. And at the time I was residing in Alberta, Canada. And a little amateur show, right? And I want to do that. I could do that. Just being on stage and performing and everything. And so I did my first show, of course, amateur show, especially in the day, like in the 80s. This is like 84, I think, or 85.
Those are good years.
Well, and I'm still, again, nothing like the US. Like you guys had everything already going on with the Olympias and the muscle and fitness and the Mecca, like everybody trained there, right? Over in cricket land, you had a couple of bodybuilders. So still, I didn't know what to expect, right? But yeah, I got the bug. And so when I won my first show, there's just 4 of us in my category, heavyweight, right? So I won,
You were a heavyweight?
I was a heavyweight, and then I went middleweight.
Unbelievable.
And then I went heavyweight. See, the first show.
So you don't look like you never looked like a heavyweight to me.
Yeah. The North Americans, I was a heavyweight.
Wow.
Canadian Nationals, I was a heavyweight. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because when I had competed in the Canadian Nationals, which was held 1990 in Toronto, and I was pounding and just like fierce, it's like my legs aren't big enough. And I look at the photos now and they're like, and just kept getting bigger and bigger. And I did dabble in some Anavar and Maxibulin and to help put the size on because I'm tall and skinny. So I got to a certain level and then I just decided to cross that line. So I was packing it on.
Anavar is it more of a cutting agent? Is it more for leaning?
Well, because I never used anything. Like right. I got some good size off that, like it helped. It just absorbed it. Yeah. It's like, not massive, but enough to where I wasn't burning muscle.
You never looked massive to me.
Well, I was a pretty big girl. And then when I, the Canadian Nationals, and I looked back after competing and, I was in shape and lean and everything, but I thought, nope, that's not why I entered this. I wanted to be Rachel. I want to be, Gladys Portuguese. So at the North Americans, I kind of trimmed down, still a big girl, but I had packed on so much size that it didn't matter. And then I turned pro. And then, I was overjoyed when they announced we're drug testing everybody, want the girls to be smaller. So I just kept going back smaller. So I had to alter my training because I went like this and then like that. And that's why I look smaller per year because I kept trying to tone it in and hone it in. And then later on, they're like, well, you got to get bigger. You're placing 10th because you're not as thick, you're not as muscle. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's not why I entered. I mean, you take what you have for bodybuilding, what you're born with, and you just work it. It's like clay, right? You just mold it, sculpt it to what you present. That's what I loved about the era in the 80s and 90s is you could just have a silhouette of someone and you knew exactly who they were. You
Yeah,
know, that's Frank Zane.
that's true.
That's Linda Murray. That's Corey Everson. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's, you know, you knew. And now today's athletes, because it was all about sculpting and the tiny waists and the sweeps and the flares, and everybody had their own, you know, Linda's with the shoulders and Corey's beautiful long sweeped hamstrings, and, you know, Franco Columbo, the split in his chest. I mean, you can pick each athlete, like Tom Platz, you know, the quads, right?
Yeah.
You know, but that's what made the sport so fun and interesting. It was everybody had their individual style.
They looked different.
Everybody looked different. Now
Everybody looks the same.
Mad respect for the athletes because I know the work that's put into it.
Sure.
The dieting and the training. It's like eat, sleep, train, and the fitness girls to do these routines on top of everything on low carbs. And you know, they're incredible gymnasts. They all, like the girls, I don't care what category. There's many categories now, as you know. They all look fabulous, but they all look the same. Right. And then the guys, you know, they're all massive and cut, and like, you know, any sport, you get bigger, better, faster, stronger, you can jump higher. And, you know, that's just the way the sports evolve, no matter what your sport is. But unfortunately with bodybuilding, it kind of lost its sizzle for me, because everybody looks the same.
God, I hope I don't look the same when I decide to go back up on stage. That'd be horrible. I don't want to look like anybody. I want to look different. I want to look. In my mind is the classic physique. I think of you. I think of Rachel, Corey, all different body types. Linda. When I think of bodybuilders, I think of a Steve Reeves. I think of a Frank Zane.
Oh,
I think of
beautiful.
Yeah, Steve was
Right.
a good friend.
Steve Reeves.
Yeah, I got to hang out with him for a period of time.
What's his number?
Well, he's probably hanging out with Joe and Ben now.
Yeah.
In heaven.
Oh, is he? No.
Yeah. 72 years old. He passed away.
He did.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was an amazing person to talk to.
Beautiful, man.
And that was Frank Zane's favorite bodybuilder.
Right.
And Frank was still amazing. And then we had Franco, and I mean, you could always tell. But to me, those were classic physiques.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't have the extended gut.
Yeah.
That we have today.
Yeah.
I think we need that look back.
Well, yeah, and I know they're trying to do that with the like you said, the classic physique rounds.
But I think that overall look, I think it's still a standard. I mean, I just think it's a better looking body. I think your body style type, you never looked like you were hungry. You might have been dieting, but some of these poor girls.
You didn't see my last Olympia. I was sinewy. Yeah, I over depleted.
Well, you probably went to all different areas physically and mentally to be your best.
Yeah. Well, we all do, right?
Sure.
Yeah. I just wish I had somebody to keep me sane, like to help guide me when I started like, oh, I'm, because, I wouldn't have imploded so much.
Did that happen?
Oh, every show, except for the North Americans.
So most people don't understand that, do they?
They don't, because, you don't think, well, and I respect, like, when you have someone like Linda Murray or Corey Everson or Arnold Schwarzenegger or Lee Haney, right? They come back and they win, they defend their title and they win it. And it's number 5, number 6, number 7, to keep that zone is highly, highly respectable, because
it's very unnatural,
right? To have that calm. I was always like, a marble in a tin can, like, in my brain, because I'm not ready and I'm not lean enough and I'm going to,
That's actually the way I would get.
Yeah.
I'd get the same way, right?
When I trained with Charles Glass, he was able to control that for me. He would keep me calm, and he would be my sight. Because when I looked at myself in the mirror, it's like, oh boy, I'm looking smooth. I'm not this or that. No, I just listened to Charles.
Well, he was one of the greatest trainers.
The best. Best.
Everybody always, and he's very humble, isn't he?
He's a sweetheart. You talk about a classic man. Just, love him. Just, he's solid. You know?
yes.
Yeah.
And he was quite a competitor himself.
Yeah. Phenomenal. And a gymnast.
That I
He's a
didn't know.
former gymnast. You didn't know that?
That I didn't know.
Oh, he would do flips on stage and such. I mean, I used to see him at Gold's Gym, you know, when it was fun in the 90s and that, right? And he'd do like a hanging plank, you know, like gymnasts do. So the body's straight and you hang from a bar. And I mean, and he's still in amazing shape.
Mhm.
This guy is never out of shape. And how old is Charles now? You know, he's
I
up
know.
there.
He's an age.
Right?
Robbie Robinson's the same way.
Wait, he just turned 77. I mean, he could compete like right now, step on stage and compete.
Yeah.
Have you seen him?
Yeah.
He's just ripped.
Well, we've had him here before.
You have?
We have. He's hung out here. We've had him on a show. Phenomenal. We took him over to the buildings, San Diego backdrop.
Oh.
And he took his shirt off and showed his abs, and everybody just stopped doing what they were doing.
He stopped traffic, you know. Phenomenal. Oh, and you know, a lot of that era never stopped training either.
No. Well, it's their DNA. It's what they're made of.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't either. Look at you.
Oh, no, I did for a while.
Yeah, but you look phenomenal.
I got back into training. And muscle does have a memory. I'm telling you, it does.
Well, some people's muscle has the dementia.
Oh my! Are you trying to tell me something?
No, I'm not talking about you. Well, maybe I'm talking about me. I don't know. But is that a Freudian slip? Is that a Brett slip? Anyway, no. But so you trained for so long, so hard, and were so disciplined. Did you feel like you just needed a break?
Yeah. Well, you know, I did back away from competition. And I trimmed down to like a fit body because Joe kept me under contract for a few years.
I know he thought the world of you.
Oh, yeah, well, he loved his athletes. Right?
I've gone to the office a couple times. I don't know if you knew that. I actually gone there in Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
And even at some events, he didn't say a lot. Joe's a very interesting guy. There's nobody. I don't think I've ever met anybody like him.
I miss him.
But you were one of his favorite. I mean, he thought in my mind, from what I heard.
Yeah.
Say you were one of his favorites.
Oh, love that man.
I mean, that's what I remember him telling me.
Yeah, and I was always grateful because there were so many athletes, you know, that he housed under contract.
Yeah.
And we're also grateful. And he brought Arnold here and that. I mean, it's just, you know, we all love him. We all
he thought
love
the world of you. He loved Sean Ray.
That's wonderful.
Sean Ray also, he thought the world of Sean Ray.
Yeah. Well, you know, and he loved Corey. He loved Rachel.
Yeah.
You know, I think Rachel was his favorite, but you know, he talked a lot about Corey and Rachel and Linda, how elegant she was.
He spoke a lot about you too.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's nice to hear. Yeah. I mean, I loved working for him, you know, and well, I mean, thanks to Joe, and again, I didn't know about contracts. Then when I did get a contract, I assumed they were always around, but they weren't because the year I came in and turned pro in 1991 is the year the contract wars began.
1991 is when you turned pro?
Yeah. Yeah. It was held in Los Angeles that year. And it was Bill Dobbins that took me to go see Joe Weider because Joe wasn't at the show. And Bill Dobbins approached me. It was the first time I met everybody, right? I didn't know. I was green from Canada, you know. I remember walking backstage and I saw Tazzy Cologne back there and Nicole Bass. And like some of the girls I saw in magazines. So I'm thinking, oh, I should have trained harder. I mean, look what I'm up against. And then Bill Dobbins came backstage, introduced himself, and he goes, have you met Joe yet? Joe who? Joe Weider? No. Joe Weider. Like, oh, you know. I was just blown away. He took me to Joe's house. We had lunch with Joe in his backyard, and then Joe offered me a contract. But I didn't know contract wars had begun. I was about to say the WBF had just
that was
entered. Vince McMahon.
Right.
He's going to start his own bodybuilding federation. So he was scooping a lot of the guys, right? And then Metarex was new, and they're scooping athletes. And Twin Lab, well, we got to get some athletes too. And then Joel's like, hey, wait a minute, you know, you're stealing all my athletes. And so that's, yeah, I mean, talk about timing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
good timing.
Yeah. But I loved it. I loved the travel. I mean, we all do. Who wouldn't, right? But then the seminars and the workshops and hosting certain events for Joe and just representing, and you know, it was such a joy. It was just such a blessing.
And the fashion was amazing. The type of clothing that was developed during that period of time that we don't see today. What you think? I
You
mean,
know, and
some of
yeah,
it you
I
probably
mean,
would say I would never wear that again.
I would never
but-
wear that again. But at the time, like, you had the hot stripes, everyone's wearing the striped tights, and then you had the perfetto wear and the crazy wear and all this, right? And
I get stuff from my kids when they see those photos, when they see the spandex.
see
guys,
dad and
they're really gross. I mean, it's like, that's so gross, Dad. I mean, it's like, we were just talking about it the other day, right? But I thought it was cool.
Dad,
Why?
I could see everything. What? You know.
I went. One time I went to see my brother at work, and I had just gotten back from the gym, and I walked in like no big deal, and everybody was just freaked out. I'm like, "What's your guys' problem?"
What's the problem, man?
Well,
Everyone's wearing them.
Yeah, everybody's like staring down at me like this, and I'm like, "Is there a problem?" Remember that story?
No, but you know the joke, right?
I didn't put a
You're,
sock.
you're supposed to put the potato
was
in the
no-
front, man, not the back. That's why they're all staring. Didn't you tell them that?
Okay, it was an outie. It's not an innie. No, but I loved the clothing, and I loved. Didn't Gary Strydom own a company too?
His was crazy wear, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of ahead of his time a little bit,
Yeah.
and did very well with it. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So this stuff was great.
See, and I had this conversation. Remember Perfetto sportswear?
Yeah.
That's who I'm staying with right now in Malibu is Rick and Tammy Ciotti.
Okay.
Still very dear friends. And I worked his catalog a lot in the day.
Beautiful
and
catalog.
he's like a brother from another, right? Anyway, but we're just talking about the fashions, and he might bring Perfetto back. And I love, you know what my favorite was the Jane Fonda era, like with the spandex and the leg warmers and
I never wore those.
the bodysuits with the
Never wore those.
You'd rock it, man.
Okay, maybe behind.
Oh, sure, you'd wear
maybe-
skin tight tights, but you
but
wouldn't wear,
maybe behind closed doors I did, but
Is that another Freudian slip, man? Are you?
I didn't think we were going to go into this area with the show. This is not scripted, as you can tell.
I told you we're going to
Yeah,
play.
Yeah. So I think we were, honestly, I think you were probably, I mean, look at where, I'm not knocking bodybuilding now. It is different.
I'm not knocking it either.
Yeah.
It's a different time and era,
Exactly.
you know? And like I said, mad respect, because it is hard work.
But everybody during that time wanted to be involved with bodybuilding because it was so cool. It was so hip.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
If everybody that normally wouldn't
Well,
have
look
gone
at Gold's
into it.
Gym, you know, and again, it wasn't just the bodybuilders. We had the wrestlers and the ballers and the actors and, you know, entertainers, you know, singers, musicians. Everybody worked out at the Mecca, and we were like a huge family.
It's like a big entertainment center.
Big, yeah, but we all worked out. Like, it was a serious workout
Sure.
that we'd all take off to the firehouse, and that's when we had our play. All work first and then play later.
Right.
But, you know, that's how I got to be friends with James Caan and Ray Liotta, who are both passed away
God
now.
bless them both.
You know, yeah.
It's
And
just
it was just,
shocking to know
but
that
it was
they're gone.
shocking that they follow bodybuilding. You know, Gregory Hines, our biggest fan.
I remember seeing him
right?
at the '84 Mr. Olympia.
He was at every Olympia, and Arnold's Expo was called at the day.
Phenomenal.
Arnold's
phenomenal
Classics,
talent,
right?
by the way.
Yeah.
He was too young. He passed away.
Yeah, and he's just
And James
oh,
Caan was
man.
another. I mean, what an iconic.
He was a nut, but it was just, you know. And then, you know, like when you travel in that, and the people that you meet that actually follow the magazines. And I'm not like saying, you know, who would ever follow those? You know, I never thought people look, but it's just amazing how bodybuilding influenced so many.
It influenced the movies.
Exactly. Yeah,
music-
like Joe's vision was epic, right?
Right.
And he comes, you know, he and Vince Garonda and Jack LaLanne.
I
and-
trained at Vince's.
You did.
Under Vince.
I never made it over
I
there.
trained with him 2 months before he passed away.
Oh, yeah. I never got to meet him. Never went over there.
Very interesting guy.
Yeah.
Eric
it's-
Estrada used to train with him.
Oh, we did. Yeah.
So I'd given him some stuff that Vince had given me some things. And when I saw Eric not too long ago, I gave it to him. He was like, he said, "This is the best present you could have ever given me."
Yeah.
He says, "Those were the best times in my career, my life."
And did you find, this is interesting, this is always brought up, you know, because when I do, you know, my online training or on make appearances, or even like through Facebook and Instagram, which I love, people reach out and ask me training questions, nutrition, whatever, which I love. Like, feel free to reach out. I am on Instagram and Facebook. My website's coming out. It's up right now, sharonbruneau.net.
Is
It's
that on
in
the bottom there, Sarah?
it's in the process of
there.
we're going to be adding more stuff in my training videos. But the
Exciting.
point is, in the day, training and nutrition was just so simple. It's the basic information that works, and it still works to this day because thanks to the internet, you can research a lot. Thanks to the internet, it's very confusing. Which one is a proper program? They say to do this. What about that? What about this new thing that they're doing? What about that diet? What about this food? What about that stuff? What about this pill? And you just stick to the, it's chicken and rice and vegetables. You go in, you train just at 40 minutes at the most. You do cardio 3 days a week. And nutrition is 90% of the battle. I mean, it's so simple.
It is 90% of the battle.
But people now, they're led to believe that there's so much more to, you must have been training in the gym 7 hours a day. And it's just, keep it simple but like the Vince Gronda and, Menser, I trained under Mike Menser.
Well, I think he was
only for like 3 months. I mean, he was heavy duty, it's like, it's killing me.
Never had a chance to meet Mike. I got to tell you, I think, he was onto something with recovery.
Yeah.
And I think Lita Brada did kind of something similar, but not as intense, and was able to do pretty well with the type of, recovery that he did.
Yeah. Because you got to rotate. I always say, rotate your calories, rotate your workouts. It's like you can do 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 2 off.
Your body adapts.
3 on, 5 off. I mean, you got to rotate, right? And adapts. And then the rest period in between, or like little rest in between. I always keep it guessing. Because I just find with most, if you chopped your head off, your body still thinks for itself. It's very stubborn. It doesn't want to work. And then it adapts very quickly to which you apply it to. So that's my philosophy, is always rotate your programs, and it makes it more interesting too. You don't get so stagnant. And
what about the food?
The same thing. Rotate your calories.
Food.
Yeah.
The
more you do, the more you take in. The less you do, the less you take in. But even then, rotate around, have high days, low days, no matter what. The amounts of protein, because I mean, too much of anything can also hurt you. So like, say protein, for instance, if you're taking too much protein, you're going to start losing your hair, you got slumber, you mess with your thyroid. So you really got to, it does somewhat come down to a science.
Is that what happened to my hair?
See, I wish I'd known you. Sorry, I can't fix that now.
Well, there's advantages to being bald, but we won't go there.
Oh.
So what were your thoughts? What? What are your thoughts? Well, I say money on hair products. What were your thoughts on cardio for preparation?
Well, cardio.
Did you do cardio a lot when you were preparing for shows?
Not when I was bodybuilding, preparing for shows. I didn't do cardio until, prepping for competition.
Okay.
It's like 12, 14, maybe 16 weeks out. Then I start up the cardio. On the off season, sometimes I'd run to the gym and then do my workout.
Is that Gold's?
At the Mecca, yeah. Or there's day, and I wouldn't do any. But in running, isn't the best if you're trying to put muscle on. Yeah. Like for me, it was very difficult to put muscle on. So I laid off the cardio and I just did my weights.
Naturally lean.
I'm naturally lean. I'm naturally tall and thin, right? But I mean, if you're naturally, stocky, you have a hard time shedding it,
sure,
then yeah, some light cardio. And I mean, and again, we're talking about cardio. It's just to entice your body to pick up the metabolism. You're not there to beat yourself up. You don't have to do cardio for over an hour and weights for another hour. Don't beat yourself up.
Body has to recuperate.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're going to be working with new people getting ready for competitions, or what is your?
Well, I'm training 2 people right now for competition online.
Okay.
It's over Zoom. I'll have programs though. Thanks to COVID, with everything that happened with the gyms and so forth and so on, I just don't train. I have a couple of clients, but I'd rather just send you the program. I can design it for you, and I have Zoom calls with my clients and just guide them through everything. Or if you're local, I'll come meet you at the gym and take you through a few of the workouts and set you up on the program and leave you be for a while.
Okay.
I'm just there to guide you.
Okay.
I'm not a Charles Glass where I'm going to sit with you each day,
Gotcha.
and that's more for, like, professional athletes, right? But you're going to find I've always asked what my leg routine was for competition. How did I turn pro? What was my diet like?
Sure.
So you'll find finally, different training routines, nutrition tips. I'll have manuals.
Oh,
I'll
great.
have individual, like leg day, shoulder day. I'll have full bodies with different weights, without weights. Take you through an array of selections. You'll never get bored. And there's no excuse. You can even do it at home without weights, low impact. It still works for you,
Well, I don't think anybody ever get bored with anything that you're involved with.
Well, thank you. My biggest support right here.
Well,
I got to come here more often.
Well, yeah, but I think we need to come to you sometime, because we can take our cameras and stuff. We have another camera guy that we bring, but we'd love to get more.
That would be fun.
Carry more of the story of what you're going to be doing.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Now we have a big sector, and I never thought we would ever be talking about this when we were younger, but anti-aging. Dr.
And it's Dr. Robert Goldman
is very, very. I think he's the one that probably got me more focused on anti-aging.
Yeah.
He has that way. I think it's the way he put together that event that he puts on.
A4M.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. In Vegas, his anti-aging conference that he created. This Dr. Robert Goldman, Google him. This man is amazing. He's my hero.
Right. I think he's my hero too. I mean, he's so humble.
He's so knowledgeable. He's so humble. That's why I love him. He is so humble.
But he's a badass.
But yeah, he is. I mean, 10th Dan degree black belt in several styles, and he's got 10 doctorates. I'm not kidding. 22 Guinness World Records. He speaks man. I mean, it sounds like, yeah, right. No, I'm serious.
He's a real deal.
He's a real deal, and he's actually the one that pulled me into it as well.
So it makes sense, right?
Well, of course it makes sense, because if you think about it, and I read something a while ago, and less people are having babies nowadays. There's, it used to be before you get married, you have kids. Less people are having children, and more people are living longer and still, after the youthful lifestyle, if you want to say. But anti-aging has really blown up more so than ever.
Is that because there's more people that age that are trying to take?
Exactly, right. I'm 59. I'm going to be 60 next year, and
have a big party
and have a huge party. We should tape that.
Yes,
you guys should come.
There's probably some things we shouldn't tape.
Hey, well, you are dealing with me. So,
I swear, it's art. It's all art.
I'm different. But I pick his brain all the time. Just about everything, right?
Sure.
And
he's a great guy.
Nutrition, and for the ladies, menopause, and all stuff that happens, and and of course, it's not just the inside, but the outside too. And speaking of, and I didn't bring my bottle with me. I'm so mad at myself.
You're making tequila?
Ooh, that always makes you feel young.
Well, it's
until you wake up the next morning.
It's a probiotic. It's agave, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Kills germs. Gargle with it. No, I've got a new skincare coming out.
Really?
I tried it for the last year.
By the way.
Thank you. And I love hearing, because I look at myself, I've been taking pictures for the last several days. I've been at every event.
Beautiful.
Then I look and it's like, oh God, I'm still wrinkled. And who's that old woman? No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Great. So thank you. Because it's the cream. But I'll give you guys, I'll send you the info that you can clip in later on, or go to SharonBruneau.net or to my websites, because I'm going to start promoting it. It's a formulator that is well known in the bodybuilding world. He's a chemist and normally makes like proteins and this, that, and herbs and all, but he created this peptide. His wife has serious eczema and psoriasis, serious skin problems, right? She found that while she's using it, like all up here, right? Poor thing on her arms. Eczema and psoriasis. So he made this peptide, and then he sent it to a friend of his in Georgia, who is a chemist, and he creates lotions and serums and stuff like that. And he private labels for companies. There's large companies that use this guy. Anyway, Emmerich, my friend, the formulator, sent his peptide
I know Emmerich.
to my, you know Emmerich.
I know Emmerich.
Okay, Emmerich Del Seg.
Yeah.
Okay, so he got a hold of me
He's a
because
classic
I've been
bodybuilder.
doing, yes, very well known. He's a classic from the golden era. This
Yeah.
guy is a scientist.
He's
His brain is just, you know, picking like nutrition and supplements and everything, right? So he gets a hold of me because I've been doing podcasts a lot. And so we'll talk about anti-aging and, you know, the skin and, you know, whatever. And somebody had said, well, why don't you get Botox? And I said, well, if I had the budget, I would, you know, but I don't. So
doesn't Botox give you kind of that hard, kind of a hard look after a while?
Well, it just smooths out all the wrinkles, right? Anyway.
So you have a very beautiful natural look. Well, you don't have that.
See,
that hard...
I got to come here more often.
You do though.
No, but thank you. No, honestly, thank you.
I mean, you really do.
I appreciate that.
You don't look preserved and you don't look artificial.
Well, this cream, he says, please try it. It's free. I don't think it's free. And I trust Emmerich, right? He sends me this stuff. And at first I didn't like it because I was just breaking out like crazy.
Really?
And I'm like, what is this adult acne? Great. I'm losing hair. I'm getting old and I'm breaking out. You know, what the hell is this a bad joke? You know, too much protein.
I'm looking like Brooke's sister.
Oh, John. You know, nice comeback. You know? The Brett Davis Comedy Hour.
Next time she comes in, we'll both be wearing hats because
we'll both be bald. Well, it's getting better. Look at that because of Emmerich's stuff. No, so hold on, let me finish. So you're wrecking my promo, man.
No, I'm impressed.
Stealing my shine.
You look great. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. No, I shouldn't shut him up. All the compliments. What's wrong with me, right? So I've been using it. So, you know, the condition of my skin and my neck and everything, and people notice. But when I look at myself, I'm like, you know, when you look at yourself in the mirror, I'm like, yeah.
But you see yourself.
Just an old lady, you know, I look in the mirror.
You see yourself all the time. Most people
you see yourself all the time.
So they're going to see the change.
I love it. And now, like, what it was doing was detoxing the skin because the peptides, epidermal growth factors, like the peptides in has epidermal growth factors, oligopeptide-1, which is an amniotic fluid. It's a stem cell.
Wow. Okay.
It corrects your skin. So after it flushed everything out, what it does, it plumps and it tightens, and a lot of the fine wrinkles are gone. I loved it so much. They said, do you want us to private label for you? Absolutely. So I've been getting the backers together because I want to get a stock in my warehouse before I actually start throwing out the major marketing program that I have sitting by for it. But I'm telling you, I don't really promote a lot of stuff.
I've never seen you promote a lot of stuff.
You know, and I just love it so much, and I want to share it. You know, and a couple of my girlfriends have been using it, and they just love it. Like it's so soft. It's just because even whatever, you know, and trust me, you know, I would dabble here and there if I could, right? What if you go under the needle? Whatever your choice. I mean, if you can, why not? Because a lot of women, my friends, and that's like gorgeous, and you would never know, right? But you still have to worry about the condition of your skin. You know, it just gets rid of the pores, everything else. Anyway, so there's my plug, but I just wanted to get that out there because please watch. And it's called Sharon Bruneau, the cream, and it's an anti-aging, antioxidant cream for your neck, face, and eyes. And I'll get you some.
I want one.
I'll get you some samples. Absolutely. You know, I'll show you everything else, but it's just, so that's what I've been working on, and the website and just, you know, we learn to teach, right? So, you know, I like yourself, right? Like your beautiful wife who's a martial arts expert, you know, but right, you enjoy teaching, you give back. That's what it's about. And so right now I'm just having a heyday making videos and helping people. And I made a comeback because I went through a depression for a period and I got badly out of shape and depressed. But you know what? And even though I knew that, the gym is the answer. Walk into the gym and get busy again. Just do it. Just do it. You'll be glad you did, and you'll feel better, right? You not only look better, it makes you feel better. So
exercise and nutrition are the best antidepressant,
right. And it's the best therapist. And, you know, and I know because you know, and again, you know, so depressed, I didn't care, you know, after losing my hubby, but it's, when I finally stepped in, I'm like, what took me so long? Because inside, you know, what's best to do. Right. So yeah, bodybuilding.
But I think you had to go through that process.
We all go through stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's we all have to deal with stuff. And I think, you know, now I can look back because that hit me hard. It took me 4 years to recover. And now I'm starting to care again. And it was people like our friend Harry, who passed away, right?
Yeah.
He called me up. He goes, I'm a huge fan. We need to get you back, because he knew what happened, right? And because people still want to see you. I'm like, nobody wants to see me. I messed up and everything else. And in 2018, I was inducted into the Muscle Beach Hall of Fame. And when I got Joe Wheatley, and I was just there on Monday.
How's he doing?
Fantastic. And they honored Corey Everson, because she was inducted back in 2005. But they had a celebration for her because she hasn't been back for one. They gave her a recognition award, because she is the best of the best, right? 6-time Miss Olympia. Anyway, so it's always wonderful being back there, and I walk over and look at my plaque. Yay! But that really got me back in action, because when I got the call telling me in 2018 that, hey, get your butt out here, Muscle Beach, because you're inducted into, I thought, me? Because I was there for Lando Murray's induction, for Joe Weider's induction, for,
Jack LaLanne.
I wasn't there for Jack's. I was there for Lou's when Stan Lee gave him the award.
Right.
So I never thought I'd have my plaque up there. Like, these are the greats,
That's
right?
Because you're very humble, but I told you, you are one of the greats. We talked about that earlier.
And I thank you. But I never thought, I just feel blessed,
You're
right?
very humble.
Well, thank you.
And I think the people that are very humble typically don't know they're great. When they're really great at what they do, they don't see themselves in that light. But you are.
Okay. No, okay. Thank you.
But here's the thing: it's nice. The thing that I made her blush. Look at she's turning.
I am, and I don't blush easy. So it's just hot in here.
It is warm. You mentioned teaching. Yeah. I think when we get to an area of our lives when we're so into what we're doing, to be able to go in an area that we were never able to do, because it takes a lot to be a champion in any endeavor, whether it's business, fitness, bodybuilding, whatever.
Yeah.
You have to be very
passionate
and passionate.
Yeah.
Selfish and passionate.
Well, yeah.
Because you can't.
Well, yeah, it's that too.
Because it takes a lot of effort to be that, and you know that.
And it's true. And, some people even say to me, I feel so selfish, or even when I was training for competition, I was called selfish, you have, and the thing, I never felt selfish, although you are correct, because it's all about you at that time. Me.
We won't see that. You wouldn't see that at that time.
But you don't, because when you have a passion,
sure,
it drives you. I just felt like a racehorse with blinders on, where you couldn't see anything else. And I just kept going. I had a goal. I had a plan, like all the athletes, not just myself. Right. But that's what drives an athlete is, everybody needs a plan, whether you're competing or, you have a new venture coming up, or what, you want to go for a degree, you need a plan. Right. We all have a passion for something. Like we're talking earlier, my daddy was a great country Western singer. And that was his passion. He always followed. He never became, famous.
But it made him happy.
And, I was given this book called Divine Purpose, The Divine Purpose.
I think I have a copy of it.
A great book. And that's what I was going through a slump, right? And when you open that book, the first thing on the first page, what does it say if you have the book?
I don't remember.
Oh,
tell me.
Uh-oh.
When did the book come out?
It's not about you. That's the first page. That's the first sentence.
It's not about you.
It's not about you.
Okay.
And I was interested in reading that, and we're on the topic of, bodybuilding or any professional sport can be selfish, right? And when I read that, it's like, God, it was always about me. Maybe, it's time to give back, There comes a point where it's like, all right, I'm grateful that I achieved my passion, my goal. Now it's time to give back. Now it's not about me. Now let me help you, right?
I believe when you give unselfishly, it comes back to you tenfold.
The best feeling is like, my clients like, I love you so much. Oh my God, I'm making that. Like, I never thought I could do this. And everybody needs a lift, right? And that's what feels good, right?
What's exciting times for you? It's been, the new things that are coming your way, the opportunities, because you're very creative. All you have to do is look at your photography.
Thank you.
Shots of it you did. You never went to college.
No.
You're self-taught.
Yeah.
repetition after repetition,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I was even, through hosting some fitness shows, I befriended one of the producers from ESPN, and he invited me to host the James Cagney auction back in 2000, I believe, or 2001, maybe 2003, and around there, with John Burke, who's well known through E! Television. He's done a lot of work for them. Enjoyed that so much. He hired me on to host all the Hollywood auctions and everything else. And through that, it goes like, I'm going to teach you how to be a producer. Like, great, I want to do that. I'm always looking for the next thing, right? Like, that sounds like fun.
Right.
And so I worked for him for 8 years at 20th Century Fox, and I climbed up to be his senior vice president.
Amazing.
Because when you grab something, or at least for me, I grab it and I run with it, and I just want to climb. I just want to, like, we're all like that, right? You want to be the best you can be at what you do,
Right.
no matter what it is. I love a person that puts all the passion and the work into it, but it's hard work. But so what? It pays off, right? So I've just been bouncing around. Straight out of high school, I went to fashion modeling, and the money was so good, I just didn't want it.
So you did fashion modeling right out of high school, before fitness and
Yeah.
bodybuilding.
I was never a supermodel. That would have been the ultimate dream. If that were the case, I'd never be a bodybuilder, right? But
because that's what got you to the door.
Yeah.
And then you had to perform.
Yeah.
Which you did.
Yeah.
So you do really well with challenges.
Yeah. I like a challenge. I do.
You do good with obstacles. You have a way of putting the time in or whatever it is. I said reps earlier, but you have a way of just going after what you want, and you put the time and effort and the focus and the discipline in, and you've been able to achieve that. There's people that go to college, they can't do that.
Yeah, and again, it's
I'm
like,
not knocking college, by the way.
No. I understand what you're
some
saying.
people.
Like, I've known some, and I met some pretty heavy duties at, like through Fox or through Weider, or different careers that I've had, but they're scholastically brilliant.
Sure.
But they're not street smart, right? I find that a lot. It's all about learning. You can take a university course online for free. You can do that. If you want to learn about nutrition, what you think you're missing out because you didn't go to UCLA or Berkeley or whatever, right? Or law, but if you truly just want to learn, you can do it for free. You just don't get a degree.
A thing you can put on the wall.
Yeah. And of course, I'm not going to hire it and that was the thing, like when I was brought into Fox and in the division, and I'm a producer. And so some of the people were like, well, where'd you go to school? What university you go to? What film school you go to? No, nothing, but I was behind the camera, or in front of the camera for a few years.
They were shocked.
They were shocked, and they were kind of like, I felt like they were looking down on me because I didn't have a film degree or this degree or that degree, but it didn't matter because I put the work in. And when I'd ask questions, that's the biggest thing. If you don't know, ask.
Some people are afraid to ask.
Exactly.
Because it makes them feel like they're stupid.
Right. Yeah. Or they're embarrassed to ask, or just too shy.
Right.
I always say, no matter what, ask. You're stupid if you don't ask, don't pretend.
Did you learn more from success or failure?
Failure. Absolutely.
Why is that?
Because I never did it again. You know what not to do.
Because it burned. It
burns, man. And it took a couple of failures because I am like that too. I was just talking about, you got to ask, just go straight to the, the top. So it made me to start doing that more often. It's like, you know what? I thought I knew it all. I did this. I messed up. I'm sorry. Help me through this part. What was I supposed to do here? Or where can I go to learn more about this? And again, now with the internet, if you're good at research, which is what I did at Fox anyway, right? A lot of research for the division. You can learn pretty quick. You just got to, take the time and just soak it in.
You're good at investigating.
Yeah.
You're good at research.
At research.
See, those are exactly the things I'm good at.
Yeah.
Sarah never went to college, and she learned how to do all this stuff from the magazine to the podcasting.
Pick up a book or go on the internet. Like I said, there's so much information available now. You don't have to go to the library and check a book out, or, go and listen to a teacher for an hour.
Than we did before.
Than when I was a kid. Right. Yeah.
You could find out anything.
Yeah.
And now with AI, you could even write books and not even have to write a word.
Is that not crazy?
Have you tried that?
I was just shown that, was it 2 nights ago, by Rick Ciotti, my friends that I stay with Malibu. It just blew my mind. I wasn't aware of that. AI, yeah. I mean, it could have saved me so much work.
Sarah, I mean, we've been hearing about AI for a while.
It's insane.
And we know
and
about
it's so
the Terminator
accurate.
movies were way ahead of the time.
Yeah.
Talking about all this stuff a long time ago.
Yeah.
Does it frighten you knowing that AI is that powerful?
Yeah.
It does?
Well, you know, like you look back at a lot of these sci-fi movies we grew up with, right? And then you have Logan's Run, you have Hell, you have, all these, and it's like, and they had something, they knew something we didn't yet. What, it's like, well, how come that's not a coincidence?
Well, I don't
it's been around for a while and they're just tweaking it, whatever. But AI, I mean, let's face it. I mean, they're already replacing human workers with robots and automated systems and this, that, and the other.
Amazon has about 100,000 robots that work for their.
Yeah, I saw it. So creepy. Oh my God. Yeah.
So do you think that I mean, there's like anything, there's advantages, but I mean, is it some disadvantages as well? Are we going to become more of a society where we're less social, which we are very social?
Oh, I'm a social person. Oh yeah.
Are we going to see less social?
That scares me.
Right.
Because I need that. I need that contact. I love that social.
Exactly.
Right? And that, and plus, it just makes like, why learn? They'll do it for me.
Right.
It just dummies down the population.
Right.
Because, well, I'll just look it up. He can answer it for me. And now what I saw, you just ask it a question,
It'll go on a whole different tangent. It goes into whole different levels of things.
Because basically it researches everything for you. And it's like instant, right?
So Sarah had showed me a couple weeks back. We were talking about the same subject. I don't know how we got on this, by the way. And probably because there's a tie into some of our projects that we're working on.
Right.
I think it's fascinating. She asked the AI about me.
Yeah.
And I thought, it's not going to know. It went back to areas and did things.
Yeah.
That I was shocked that it knew about me. I mean, I was like, it typed out all this data and information.
The data comes like,
right?
Yeah.
And I was shocked that it knew certain. There's a couple things that were off on.
Yeah.
But I'd say about 90% of it was pretty accurate.
See, Rick had asked about me. Who is Sharon Lee Bruneau?
It probably.
He just said
crazy.
Sharon Lee Bruneau, right? And of course, brought the bodybuilding, where I went to high school, and because that's all over Wikipedia and stuff.
Right,
okay.
Right.
And I'm all over social media, and I share a lot about myself. So I'm like, okay, but it did a quick research, but it did get certain things. Like I was inducted into the Muscle Beach Hall of Fame in 2004. No, it was 2018. So
it was off. There's some things.
There was a lot on me. It was a lot off. Like the situation was correct, but the dates and like I was married to. What did it say? I forget. It's like some actor, and it's like, no.
So basically, no offense to David Pecker, and that's his real name, by the way, who owned National Enquirer. I mean, so it's kind of like a National Enquirer AI in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
No offense, David. We met a few times. Not a bad guy, but he sells still a lot of copies of that.
Yeah. And if you watch Men in Black, the Enquirer is like the truth. It's the Bible of truth. And it's kind of funny because when they talk about the aliens and everything else, you used to look at the Enquirer like, oh, that's so stupid. But now all this information is coming out what the Enquirer had posted like 10 years ago. Oh my God.
So I'm a huge fan of almost everybody that's done great stuff. So an issue came back a while back. They were talking about actually Bruce Jenner becoming a woman.
Right.
And I showed Sarah. And she says, that's a bunch of crap. She said, that would never happen. And I said, you know what? I've seen things in the National Enquirer that end up happening. She says, it'll never happen. So then this whole thing comes out where, he leaves and becomes, and by the way, I have respect for whatever he's doing because he seemed like a
But I mean, they knew back then. I wonder who leaked that out.
Well,
because I saw his documentary.
Somebody knows stuff, right?
Yeah.
They have to know, right?
Yeah.
Never got to ask David Pecker how he gets that stuff. He probably holds it very close to the hip, right? But I'm excited of all your ventures and adventures, and I know you're going to do phenomenal. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to. We got a note. Is this a question? Oh, okay. So she said to mention that the photography, Bill Dobbins.
Bill Dobbins.
Yeah.
Are you talking about this lovely picture here?
Yeah. Bill Dobbins is that photo of you.
He did that photo of that was after the 92 Miss Internationals.
Is this when he came? Was this before he came up and talked to you before your contract or after?
Oh, I'm pro.
So you're pro at this
Miss
point.
Internationals. That was the Arnold's Expo.
Oh, yeah.
So this is my first pro show.
That's in Columbus?
That was in Columbus. And I just know that because of my hair. Because I had really long hair after the North Americans is when I turned pro. So when I competed at the Arnold's Classics Miss Internationals in 1992, that was my first pro showing.
I always loved your look. You had an exotic.
Thank you.
You always had an exotic look. I always thought you stood out because you were different than everybody. But
thank you.
You're still beautiful as you always have been.
Thank you.
But I always liked your look. It always was just a very unique look. Don't you think so, Sarah?
She's one of my favorites.
Aw,
One of my favorites.
thank you. See, that's it. I'm moving in. I'm taking over that couch.
Actually, this is not a bad space to hide. It's kind of like a refuge.
Right.
And we got a great view
I
of
love your
downtown
studio. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Well,
There was one thing I did fail to mention though, and my partner's gonna kick me if I don't, and I'm so sorry because I've got a lot going on.
you got a lot going on.
I was approached, a lot of people approach, not just me, but when I talk to the other athletes and or, friends of mine that are actors or stunt people or what have you, producers and that, people will always approach, say, can you help me with this? Or what do you think of that? And help me do this and put your name on that, So I will take a look at stuff. And this gentleman who I knew only over Facebook, and he reached out and he goes, Sharon, please, can I have a Zoom call with you? I have a book that I wrote. I did this show and I was so, I just loved his passion. And I thought, well, send me the copy of the book. He goes, no, I got to do a Zoom with you. You got to see how passionate I am. And I love people that are passionate what they do, right? It's like, all right. So I have a Zoom call with him and it's like, And his story is, his name's Richard Webb. And his story is, he did, he's a couple years older than I. And so he's in his 60s.
I think I say 36.
And yeah, you're right. Oh, see, I
Jack Benny, 35.
had a chance to, anyway.
You mean there's still a chance?
You're telling me there's a chance. He competed in a few shows and he won the Masters at the Muscle Beach shows and stuff. I never turned pro, but he full-time job, single dad, older. He did this older, and he loved it so much. And what he learned, and one is his shows at the Muscle Beach, he wrote a book about it, a little training book called Fat Burning Secrets.
How cool.
So I had him send me the book and I flipped. You know what I love about it? It's a simple read. It is basic. It's just the basic tools. That's all you need. It shows you how simple it is. And a gentleman like Richard, who again, full-time job, single dad,
Did it.
older in life, he went and he did it. He got in great shape and he wanted to share how easy it is. So you know what? I'm gonna write the forward, which I did.
Good.
We cleaned it up a bit, tweaked it a little. So it is available, Fat Burning Secrets, on Amazon.com. Richard Webb and Sharon Bruneau. You'll see us both on the cover.
So maybe we should get a hold of Richard and see if he'd like to come on and talk about the book.
Yeah, because it's
Would
a
that be
great,
good?
so, we all have a story. And I mean, it's a great story because so many people, they follow their passion and they succeed. And he loved it so much, he had to write about it. And I love that. I just loved his passion.
I like the fact that most people work and they probably have always wanted to compete, but didn't think that they could. And so this will reach a lot of people.
A lot of people that's like, well, this guy can do it.
Right.
Not that he's a schlub or anything. He looks great. He's still in great shape, right?
Sure.
But I mean, hey, with this guy and his busy schedule and everything else, if he can do it, so can I. And he just broke it down. It's just his journey, like what he did to win his show, the way he ate, the way he trained. And I said, and he's exactly right. That's what I love about it. Simple. Keep it simple, stupid. And I tell you, also on the note that, a lot of people, I work full time. I don't have time,
Right.
and plus, especially have kids too. I know it's a big handful. When I started training for the North Americans, and I did turn pro, but you bust out. I was waitressing and bartending at a strip club in Vancouver in the day. So and those are long, and you're on your feet all night, but I got my workouts in and I kept eating, and I worked, 5 nights a week, took the night shift so I can have my days off for training. Right. But if you really want it bad enough, and again, it goes back to you have to be selfish and the passion, the drive. If you got that drive, just go for it, right?
I
No
agree.
excuse.
So we need more. We need, for some reason, we have people, and I don't know if it's the pandemic or the dumbing down of society with the phone. It's a double-edged sword. We kind of talked about it a little bit. We need to find our way back to where people can dream and go after their dreams. A lot of people don't have dreams
Oh,
anymore. It
God,
seems like they've lost their dreams.
it's a heartbreak. Because so many people lost their homes, their businesses. We were talking earlier when I came into the studio, the suicide rate of our youth. It was a horrible, dark, depressing time for everyone. That not only did we lose people from COVID, it shut down the world. Just a scary, scary time, right? I mean, you look back at all the photos with the empty streets in New York, and school shut down, everything shut. I mean, what's there to look forward to? So yeah, we just need to pick up, you know, the beat again, and just, we got to get, like you said, don't stop chasing your dreams. Everything is opened again. Whether it be, sports or, whatever you want to pursue. But yeah, a lot of that has been quashed because of the pandemic. It did a lot more damage than make people sick. And unfortunately,
Psychologically had a huge effect on
psychologically
depression.
damaging. Yeah, there's a lot of depressed people, and that's scary.
We don't know the numbers of that.
Yeah, we don't.
So if you have any advice for anybody that maybe feels like they're in a tunnel, they can't get out, they're dark. It's a dark
I've been
time.
there.
So what would you advise them to do? I mean, is it a
I've been
time?
there.
Is it a time thing? Is it?
Well,
What is
we
it?
all have a different time, and someone's going through a dark period right now, and I'm grateful she reached out to me because she knows what I went through, and it's just, and I don't wish up on anyone, but we all have our time. We all have our time to do what we feel we need for ourselves. But with depression, you pull back and you kind of crawl under a rock and you don't accept the help. You don't want this. You don't want that. You don't want people to be around you. You don't want to be seen. I just felt like I was spiraling down this dark drain and I couldn't climb back up. It was awful. But it took something that was offered to me. And I'll never, with a heavy loss like that, you eventually learn to live with it. But you do find that by pulling yourself back and away from your friends, your family, you hurt them more than how you're hurting, I found, because accept the help. I don't know, whatever situation, accept the help and don't hide yourself. You need to be around people. And I know I didn't want to be around anyone. Just leave me alone. Just let me cry. And I was drinking and smoking me. That's how I just wanted to be. I just hated you get into this funk. And it was the Muscle Beach induction that it's like, no, I still have a career. Because you feel like your world is over, right? And, no, I still have a career, whether it be in bodybuilding or production. I still have friends that love me. My dad was still alive at the time.
What year was that?
It happened in 2013. And then 2018 was my induction.
I was reaching out to you.
So everybody was,
I felt something. We didn't know each other really well. And
awful.
But I was reaching out and I kept trying to get you to come on the radio and I kept trying to get you to, I was trying to get
I
you.
just didn't want to be seen because I looked bad and I lost a lot of weight.
But I knew you were going through something.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I sensed it and I kind of heard through the grapevine of what your loss was.
Yeah.
And I was reaching out because I've been there myself. And I had been in in a very similar situation.
So now we're in a similar stature. If you've been through it yourself, by going through that. And I was always told, especially production Fox, we're going to get you on camera. You're going to talk about it. You're going to help so many other people. I can't even help myself right now. I don't know. But now that, I see the light came back, right? Now I'm prepared to help others.
Right. The timing is perfect.
Right. And I feel like, because I just feel the shift in the energy within myself again. Right. In the fitness bodybuilding world, right? I'm not talking about the stunt people, the Marine Corps, the other people that I also have been involved with, part of my family through Scott, right? But through my fitness, who the first one to reach out, and he took me to lunch and I cried on his shoulder in the restaurant, Bill Dobbins. Bill Dobbins. Yeah. And he told me it's going to be okay. You just don't understand. You just people go through. He's I'm like, no, you don't understand. My situation is different. Listen. He goes, no, Sharon, you're going to be fine. You're strong enough to get through this, right? And I would put him on the phone with my dad, and he and my dad had long conversations. Because my dad was so worried. He was still in Canada, and I was in California, right? But Bill Dobbins, yeah. I mean, I don't seem to be, because we worked a lot together and he was
Right.
always a friend. But I
Right.
mean, it just shows, like, people just think, you work together and it's part of the routine and he gets paid for taking our photos and stuff. No, it is a family. We are a family.
It is a family.
Yeah. So
But
thank you.
No, because
for-
I understood and I do understand, but I do think right now it's the worst it's ever been. in
It's
society.
frightening. And what makes me sad, like you said, I mean, I'm sad for anyone that's going through, emotional changes and difficulties and or physical, but it damages your psyche, right? And it just messes your head. More so is the youth. It's so sad is to see our youth go through such depression and such high rates of suicide. For a while, I was working with the Native youth on reservations, because the suicide rates on the reservations have always been high because they don't see a way out, right? And just the way that the natives are still I'm Native, I'm proud of my heritage, but just the way a lot of the reservations and our communities are still suppressed to the day. But then COVID brought out, now we're saying that the youth you couldn't go to. I loved high school. They couldn't do sports. They couldn't go to school. They're missing on their proms. They couldn't see their friends.
Right.
I mean, that's important when, you're a young person, like your friends and you, right? Oh, just horrible.
Yeah.
It was sad. It was such an awful time, but
We need to get back to where we need to bring some of that period of time of
Yeah.
our lives and share it
yeah,
with the younger group of
Yeah.
people that are out there that are trying to find their way.
yeah. And I always say, I keep repeating myself, but I always found that it's through sports. Don't care what your sport is. I think it's important to belong to something.
Yeah,
Right?
sure.
It's important to have to show up for something, be accountable,
Yep.
and and then you get to give your worth to the world, to other people, and you build that camaraderie, and
I agree.
I
I appreciate your time and I appreciate you and what you're doing. I think it's a great time for you to come out and do all the things you're going to do. It's going to be very successful. I'm making a prediction. I feel it. And because you're doing it for the right reasons and because you care.
Put a soak in your energy.
care.
Thank you. Oh, I love you guys. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate that.
We love you and we look forward to helping any way we can.
I'll take you up on that.
Yeah.
And likewise as well. Call me anytime. Anytime.
Well, I have some friends that are involved with reservations in San Diego
Okay.
that maybe we could talk to you about
Absolutely.
some things that are going on in San Diego.
Yeah.
And we're very involved.
Super.
We'll talk more about it.
Because I have been a face, and I've been involved in a campaign for No More Stolen Sisters.
Yeah.
And the
We know
murdered
all
and
about it.
missing women, Indigenous women. So you might have seen it through my feeds. Very proud of. So I stand strong for Native issues. I mean, I have a love for everyone.
Yeah.
But I like to be, because I was able to take something and run with it, and I want to give back and represent for my Native community as well, right? But I mean, I'm here for everyone, so maybe we should all do something together.
I think we should. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm glad.
This was fun.
I'm glad we got a chance to do it. And like I said, we're there for you, whatever you need help with.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Brett.
Okay, everybody. That was a great show. Even somebody was calling in while we were trying to finish our conversation. Who
Wasn't my phone.
Who was calling? But anyway, thank you to our sponsors. You know who you are. They're all listed there at the bottom. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for believing in what we do. And everybody out there, remember, be nice to each other and take care.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.